Okay, our main topic today is going to be best software for PCs and desktops by myself, Tom Kreuzer. If you do have your audio, you can mute it now. You can also turn off your video if you want until the question and answer at the end of the presentation. If you do have a question, you can use the chat to ask a question or comment during the presentation, and we'll get to those after I'm done presenting. Handout is out on the PC Club website and the past meeting files. And I believe Jim will try and upload it to the chat after we start. He has to wait a while, otherwise the people that join a little later won't see the file at all. So he'll have that out there. Otherwise, if you go to the past meeting, you should see it there also. Okay, our agenda, first we'll cover a few club status things, and then we'll get to our main topic. Future meetings, there is a MACSIG this coming Friday, so in a couple days, May 21st. It's web only. That'll talk about news, 40-core Mac Pro, audiobooks, new lossless audio, music memos, and questions there. So if you do have a iPhone or an iPad or a Mac, it's well worthwhile to join the MACSIG. Doesn't cost you anything, and you can attend their meetings. We also have coming up the first Tuesday in June there. We have a special question and answer, and I'll be holding that. You're welcome to join that and bring your questions or just listen, whatever you want. If we don't have questions, we'll talk about some of the current topics out there. And then our next general meeting is going to be June 16th, Wednesday, and that'll be on voice and video assistance. So I'll mainly talk about the Amazon and Alexa and things like that, but it basically is the same for Google and Apple smart assistants also. We'll talk a little bit about history and how they work, and then we'll talk about my favorite voice and video commands. Officers, Jim Holman is our president. Linda Brown is our vice president. Paul Ebert is our membership secretary. Paula Thibault-Unkowitz is our treasurer. Chuck Scott is our secretary. Mike Griffin is our MACSIG. Andrew Petrucci is our communication coordinator, and my name is Tom Kreuzer. I'm a director at large. Members, old and new, you can pay your dues to Paul Ebert. Since we aren't meeting in place, you can you'll get a notification in an email, and you can either pay using systems like PayPal or Venmo, or you can send it in through the U.S. Postal Service. If you do have suggestions for topics, you can email us your ideas. You can talk to any of the board members. We're always looking for volunteers to present on hardware or software. Could be something you use at home or at work, or if you don't want to present, you can write a short article or a long article for our monthly eBytes newsletter. Website, which is a little new format. I talked about at the last question and answer. We converted it to a newer version of Google Sites, and so you can take a look out there. Our past meetings and slides are out there. Our recordings, if we did record it, deals section, our monthly newsletter, and the link is here, but it's also in all the emails that we send. Okay, the format for the meeting today, we will move quickly because there are lots of things to cover. In most cases, I'm not getting into any detail on all the software. Otherwise, I could spend the entire hour talking about one or two of the software there. And we may not get to everything, but I think we will there. So our main topic today is best software for the PC, desktop, and laptop. And this is a little different. Our other similar topic is for the tablets and smartphones. Since those use apps, we're talking about non-apps here, which is websites and software that you might load onto your PC. excuse me. The list below contains software and sites to do most of the tasks a user needs to do, and best of all, most of them are free. Typically, these packages are either open source programs where the programmers are doing the work for free, or they're a company with a basic version that is offered for free, and they also sell a more pro or advanced version that you can also buy. I recommend if you are going to start with any of this software, or start with the lower versions, the free version, see if it's really what you need. And then if you really like it and want some of the more advanced features, that's when you can upgrade or move to it. Windows 10 does support apps. Unfortunately, those apps can only come from the Microsoft Store. So unfortunately, if you're familiar with apps on your phone, whether you have an Android or iPhone there, those apps do not work in Windows 10. Okay, most of the software and sites are free. Where they do cost money, I'll note it with how much they cost or with dollar signs there. The first thing with the software is one of the easiest way to install or update software that you may have on your desktop or laptop is a site called www.nite.com. And this has about 60 of the most popular software that you might have on your PC. You can select one or more of the software, and it'll install or upgrade the software free of any crapware or ads or things like that. Nitrate will also not bother you with options. It'll use the most standard options. It installs in default locations. It'll put no toolbars. It'll install the 64-bit versions. So it's kind of an automatic way there to keep your software on your PC up to date. And also, if you don't have any of the software that we talk about, you might use this to download it and get it installed there. I mentioned here, excuse me, be very careful searching and downloading software. So if you just do a Google search and search for some of this software, the first site that may show up maybe is a site that may install a virus on your machine or try and install other software. So you do have to be very careful where you download your software from and what you click on. As I mentioned here, you might be getting a virus, might be getting malware, which is pop-up ads, and worse, it'll replace like your searches in your browser. You might be getting old versions of software if you're not going to some of these sites and some of these utilities that I talk about. The recommended place to download is, I recommend www.download.com. It's the CNET site to download software and also to look for reviews. One of the things that it does is you'll see the ratings. So if you do a search, here I was searching for IRFAN View, which is a package I use. You'll see the different versions that are available and the review and the scores there. It'll also list if there's a cost or if it's a trial version or whatever it is. In this case, this is free. If I click on the link for iFran View 64, you get more detail. And this is the button that you'd use to download. So it's very simple, and you're not getting extra software or getting malware in it. This also is handy because it's going to tell you when it was last updated. So you can see when it was last updated just to make sure that you have the most current version or that the package that you're thinking about using is getting updated. This is some more detail there. You'll see the version and the last update date. Again, that can be very handy. It'll also tell you related software. So if there's other software that's close to it that you might want to consider, you'll see that listed. This is an important number, and we talk about this whether it's with apps in the iTunes or the Android, the Google Play Store, checking to see how many downloads it has. And if you're downloading software that has only been downloaded 100 times or 1,000 times, you're taking a risk. You want to see millions of downloads. That means it's a very popular program and that. So typically for the popular things, you're going to see millions of downloads there. Another site that I recommend if you're looking for software for your laptop or desktop is www.alternative2.net. And it's what it sounds like. If you're looking to find an alternative to a piece of software, either the software has gotten too costly or you're using it but you wished it had more features or functions, you can look to see if there's alternatives there. And this is crowdsourced, meaning that it's all generated by people's feedbacks and what's related to what. So you can put in the name of a package, it'll tell you some alternatives and the pluses and the minuses and how people rate it and score it there. So that can be very handy. Oh, somebody's got their mic on. Could you mute yourself there? Or maybe Jim can mute. Okay, so let's talk about packages, and I've broken them down into a few major categories. And the first category I call creativity, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, iFran View. It's a package that I use quite a bit, actually. It's a fast image viewer. Lets me convert from one file type to another file type. Also lets me change dates and times. So sometimes I download photos or get photos from other people that may not have the correct date and time, and I want to position them in my photo album with the correct date and time. Well, this will let me do it, and it'll also, if I have a bunch of photos, let's say from a birthday or something, I can increment them. I can pick a date and a time and increment it 1 minute between each photo, so it gets them spaced out so that they sort in the correct sequence, and I can get things done there. I also use it to capture screen images, and which is handy to capture and save them and manipulate them a little bit. So it's handy for that, and it handles so many image formats that some of the other packages don't do at all. Okay, another package that I use, FreeCam 8, and actually I'm using it right now. For this presentation, I use it to record the PC screen and the audio and the video, so that I can then upload it to YouTube, or I can save it as an WMV file. So it's handy to record the screen, and even if you're not giving presentations to other people, it's handy to use, because what I'll do is I'll record a short help. If I have somebody that's looking how to do something on the computer, I can go through that on my computer, record it, upload it to YouTube, and then send them a link and show them exactly how to do it. So it's a handy package there. Also, the FreeCam 8 can be used to record anything on the screen. So you could essentially record things from YouTube. You could record things, if you have a streaming service, you could record movies. You could record almost anything there that is shown on the screen, you can record. Okay, another in the creativity is Audacity. Audacity is an editor recorder of audio. So you can add effects, you can do mixing, you can do multiple track interfaces. The most popular use, or what I've used it for in the past and still use it for stuff, is to convert and clean up records and convert the records into MP3 files. So it can get rid of clicks and pops, it can normalize the sound, you can break an album up into individual songs, you can trim things, so a lot of power there with audio. Another one in the creativity, paint.net. If you're familiar with Adobe Photoshop and all the things that it can do, well, this can do almost everything that Adobe Photoshop can do, plus it's free. It allows you to use layers, effects, and literally hundreds of tools that you can do. It may not be the easiest thing to use in the world, but you do have full power and full control over editing images and manipulating them. Creativity, I've mentioned in the past, I still do use Google Picasa. I use it to organize my photos. In some cases, the photos that I have, or if I've downloaded from Facebook or other sources, may not have a GPS location. I'll add a GPS location. I'll edit photos, tag people, add other tags in there, add titles in there. So I use Picasa for this. It's no longer being updated by Google. I forgot the year that they quit updating it, but it still does work with Windows 10, and I haven't found a better package out there to do all the things that I want to do, so I continue to use it. After I do my edits, I'll upload and share my photos on Google Photos, the website. And like I mentioned, I have yet to find a better replacement for Picasa. I do use Google Photos, like I mentioned earlier, so the website, if you do have just simple edits or simple organization, you can use that. You can use it to share with other people, family, friends. You can use it to back up your photos and the videos, which I do. I back up from my smartphone and my tablets there. So it's a good way to share and organize some of your photos. But I use Picasa in conjunction with Google Photos. Another one that's very powerful, it's not quite a replacement for Google Picasa, but is a nice editor there, is Microsoft Photo. So if you're brand new, you might try out Microsoft Photo and see if that does what you need it to do. Personally, I use Microsoft Photo for video editing. So it also, in addition to photographs, you can do video editing. And by that, I can add titles, I can add trims, I can add photos, I can change the sound. So there's quite a bit of power there in this free package that comes with Windows 10. Okay, another one that I use is iMazing, HEIC converter. And Apple, in some cases, if you store at the highest resolution, will store the photos in this .HEIC format. And if you want to use it in some of the other packages or want to share it with some other people, you have to convert it to JPEGs or PNGs, and this package will let you bulk convert a bunch of photos or that. Another one I use, it's Handbrake. Handbrake, I use it mainly to copy or rip DVD files to my PC and also to convert formats. So if I have a DVD of family home movies or that, I can use it to copy those off of the DVD and create digital files on my PC that I could then upload, let's say, to YouTube or other sources there. Another one I use is VisiPix. It lets me detect, manage, and remove duplicate images. And when it identifies duplicate images, it's just not looking at, well, is it an exact copy and has the same date and the same number of bytes. That's certainly that's easier to detect a duplicate that way. This goes far beyond that, in that if you had cropped an image or made some other color changes or things like that, this will detect that it's a duplicate image out there and show you the location and let you remove them or get rid of these duplicates then. Another tool I use, it's called EXIFTOOL, EXIFtool.exe. I use it to restore EXIF, which is metadata found in photographs. And I've mentioned in the past, I've used the site MyHeritage to colorize photos and to sharpen photos. And in the process of doing that, their system that they use gets rid of the metadata. And I put lots of things like GPS location, titles, tags, facial recognition, and stuff like that into these photos. So I want to maintain that. And this is a tool that lets me copy that information back into those files after they've been enhanced. Another package I use, it's called VCL Media Player. Many media players don't support certain formats, whether it's audio or video. This package lets you play or hear just about anything. So it's a nice package to have. Okay, entertainment. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Apple, I do use the Apple iTunes on my PC, and I has a number of useful features and capabilities built into it, and it's free. And even though it's not the fastest program, and it goes through updates quite often, but one of the things that I like the best is it'll automatically create playlists. You can select one song that you like, and you can tell Genius to create a playlist of 100 songs that are similar to this song, and it'll go through all your albums and generate them. And I've got probably close to 2,000 records and CDs that I've loaded into iTunes here. I also do use the Microsoft Media Player. It's an easy way to rip CDs or convert CDs to MP3s. It's also can be handy to sync it with MP3 players and to create playlists. I also use it to add tags to records that I might create in Audacity. Finance, and we did have a meeting was it last month or the month before on tools there, but I'll quickly mention Quicken. I use Quicken, total money management, to track expenses, budgets, and more. It's no longer owned by Intuit, who is suggesting users use Mint. Yearly subscription of about $50 for the package. Mint is an online financial service offered by Intuit. It gathers banking and spending data from all your bank accounts, credit cards, and loans, and gives you a consistent look and up-to-date report on where your finances are. Also in the finance, I mentioned at the meeting that we talked about it, I'm currently moving to this free software to replace Quicken. That's called GNU Cash. It has quite a number of features, and it's a free software there. TurboTax, I use it to file my federal and state taxes every year. Sometimes I buy the PC software, sometimes I use the web version. It depends on which has a better deal for federal filing and state filing and that. So again, it's a nice package. Willmaker, I use Willmaker to do wills, power of attorneys, healthcare directives, trusts, and other essential documents. It's a nice little package. Productivity, I use Microsoft OneNote quite a bit. It's a nice little package to capture your text, your thoughts, let you organize them, put images in there, video in there, and audio. So it's like having a digital notebook. So instead of having a notebook and running out of space or not having it with you, I use OneNote on my desktop, my laptop, my tablet, my smartphone, all my devices. I have access and I can update and make a change on any of those devices and have it immediately reflected there. My Heritage Family Tree Builder, I do a little work with Ancestry, and you can build a family tree and unravel your ancestry. The free version lets you build your tree and add info to it. You are limited with how much you can update to the website, but you can have unlimited down on the PC there. And so I've got, I forgot what I'm up to, 400 or 500 people in my family tree, and it's a very nice package to keep track of that. And I don't have to pay the monthly or yearly fees for the other Ancestry services. I also use Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. They're a word processor, spreadsheet, and presentation program that do almost everything that a Microsoft Office does. Best part is they're free. They are web-based Office suite offered by Google within its Google Drive service. If you have a smartphone or a tablet, there's also apps that are available for your different devices. Gmail, I recommend Gmail as the best software for email, also for calendar and contacts. And I don't recommend that people use Comcast or CenturyLink email, because if you switch providers, you'll lose access, and why put in all the time and effort to some of these? Best to keep it on like a Gmail. I also use a package called Republic Anywhere. This is software that I can send and receive text messages from any of my devices, including my laptop and desktop. I have for my cell phone service, for my smartphone, I have the Republic cell phone service, and this is an additional piece of software and an app that can be loaded on these other devices that lets me get this information. Security. I use the free McAfee security from CenturyLink. So my current internet provider is CenturyLink, and they provide McAfee for free. Occasionally I will use or scan using Malwarebytes, anti-malware. That'll let you find and fix malware or rogue software that some of the antivirus programs often miss. If you don't have a Comcast or a CenturyLink and antivirus there, the packages, AVG, antivirus, or Avast are good choices. If you don't want to install any of those, the default Windows 10, Microsoft Windows Defender and Firewall and its other suite of stuff is almost as good as these packages. So if you're just looking for something, some protection, you can get by with the standard Windows 10. These packages will just give you some additional capabilities there. Another package that I occasionally use is File Shredder. So File Shredder will wipe or destroy files beyond recovery. Normally when you delete a file, none of the data is deleted, just entry is marked as deleted, and you can undelete using packages. Even Windows itself will let you do a minimal undelete, but other packages can use your recover after you've even deleted from the recycle bin in Windows 10. So file shredder, just make sure that if you do have a file and you want to make sure that nobody can ever get any information off of it, file shredder will do that. Cobain Backup is a package that I use. I can schedule and back up my files and directories from their original locations to other drives or directories on the same computer or other computers on the network. It's no longer being updated since 2012, but the mechanics of it are so rock solid that it still works very fine and is very fast. I've seen another package out there being listed, Paragon Backup and Recovery, being recommended, but I haven't converted or tried it yet. Coban is still working fine for me. Another software that I use, it's an extension that I use in the Chrome browser. It's called the AdBlock Plus. It's the world's most popular browser ad blocker. And they do have versions for Explorer or the Edge, Microsoft Explorer, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, and Chrome. Bitwarden. Bitwarden is a password manager, saves your passwords and gives you secure access from any device. Used to be that I'd recommend and use LastPass, but LastPass changed their costs and started charging if you wanted to use it on multiple devices. And so I switched to Bitwarden, which gives me all the capabilities I need, and I don't have to pay for all these different devices. Travel, Google Earth. Google Earth is, I like the package, lets me investigate city streets, see what's around if I'm going to a new place or just wondering what's around a business for parking or that, I can take a look there. Utilities, Notepad++ is a little more powerful than Notepad itself that comes with Windows 10 and lets you do source code editing. So if you do get into any coding like C or Java or HTML, it can be handy for that. CC Cleaner lets you zap temporary files, log files, cookies, browser histories, old register entries, and even wipe space clean. So it's a nice little utility. ScreenPresso capture screen images, lets you highlight, lets you blur out if you had like a password in there or a social security number, you could blur out before you sent the screen image on to somebody. Undelete 360, restoring files that you accidentally deleted, could be from your USB drive, SD card, or the computer itself. Bellark Advisor lets you view and print a PC audit of your detail of the hardware and software on your machine. Utilities, I do use Google Chrome, still probably the best browser, although Microsoft is gaining market share and is actually in some cases faster than Chrome. But at this point, my main browser is Chrome. And it has a collection of extensions, and you have shared bookmarks, easy to operate, and integration with the Google apps. So if you are using Google Docs and Google Sheets and that, you should be using Google Chrome. Google Drive Reader DC, this lets you save and share files in the cloud, including Google Docs. You get 15 gigabytes of personal use. Files in the Google format don't count towards your 15 gigabytes. Adobe Acrobat, most of us are still, you're accessing PDF files, and so to view or print, it's a handy package. also has Chrome extensions that you can load. Stylish, it's a Chrome extension that I use. The color that Chrome uses to show visited links to me is not very easy to see, and I like to have it stand out a little more which links I visited in the past. So I use this package, which then allows me to assign any color that I want so that I can easily tell what I visited and what I haven't visited. Zoom, with this day and age of doing virtual meetings, Zoom is a very nice package there. Same with Skypes and Teams for doing that. Zoom, I mentioned previously there. I also use it to do remote support. So I can have people share their screens, and I can actually take control of their screens so that my keyboard and mouse take place on their window. A nice little application that comes with Windows 10 for screen capture is something called Microsoft Snip and Sketch. It comes, like I say, standard with Windows 10. It allows you to capture, crop, and highlight parts of the screen there, so it can be very nice there. Another utility I use, it's called Ant Renamer. You can rename lots of files, do bulk renames of hundreds or thousands of files there. If you want to randomize them, if you want to add a date, if you want to add certain things to the name, you can do that with the Ant Renamer. Another utility I use, it's called 7-Zip File Manager. So in addition to unpacking zip files or creating zip files, it also lets me password protect a zip file. And this is if I'm going to store a confidential file up on the cloud, or I'm going to send it through email, and I want to make sure that only the person I send it to is going to be able to see what's in the file or that. I would password protect it and then give that password through another mechanism to the person that I'm sending the file to. Okay, this is a list of top downloads from CNET. That's at downloads.com. They're top downloads here, and some of them we've already talked about a little bit, but you can see what are the most popular downloads from the site. So that Malwarebytes, CC Cleaner, there's Photo, a free YouTube downloader to download videos, IOBit installer, Internet Download Manager, WinR for zip files, Advanced System Care, Antivirus, uTorrent, DCL Manager, Glary Utilities, Drive Booster, Drive Easy, Virtual DJ 2020, AVG, Adobe Flash Player. I wouldn't recommend this. If you're not familiar, Adobe Flash is a mechanism that a number of websites used in the past to have animation on their website or to create special effects on their website. Well, Flash has been known to have a number of security vulnerabilities, and most websites no longer use Flash, and so Flash is slowly dying, and you want to stay away from sites that do use Flash or having to load Flash players there. BitTorrent, like the uTorrent and that, if you're doing sharing of files, mostly illegal files that people do peer-to-peer, sharing movies or things like that that are copyrighted, shouldn't be doing that anyway. So not my recommendation there. WinZip and iFranView. So this is a list of some of the top downloads from CNET there. if you've got your own recommendations, send me a sentence or two, and I'll include it in the next e-bites, and we'll let other people know what you found very helpful and that. So send it along to me, and I'll include it in the next e-bites there. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. I'll open up the chat, and we'll see what's in the chat. If you want to ask a question, you can unmute your audio and video to ask a question. I'll stop sharing at this point. Okay, let me go here, and let's take a look at the chat here. We'll start back up at the top here. So Jim put the handout out there, so you can download that. Otherwise, you can go to the website. Let's see. Sorry, I can't access the handout. GIMP is another free, good open source image editor. Mitch mentions there, yes, GIMP is very popular there, although I have found the paint.net for my use anyway to give me more features and functions than GIMP there. But it's a free open source package there. VLC, Mitch mentioned, is available on all platforms. You can rip CDs in iTunes too. I'm not sure that I'm trying to get people away from ripping CDs and DVDs, because people do bring that up every now and again, and I go, oh, why are you doing that? Because all devices now support digital and file sharing, and so you really shouldn't have to create CDs. I can see taking information off of the CDs and that, but not so much creating there. Mitch mentioned GMX Mail is a great alternative to Gmail. Yeah, it's a case of there's features and functions and that you'll find, and again, depends on the security that you want and the capabilities that you want. GNU Cache, like virtually all open source, is available for all platforms there. Yeah. Okay. Mitch mentions love Notepad++. Yeah, if you're into any programming or editing of text files and that, Notepad++ gives you the extra capabilities there. Let's see. Belarc Advisor is highly recommended, especially useful when migrating a computer, but is a great way to capture your registration IDs. And yeah, I think the last time I had shown the Belarc Advisor was we were talking about how to set up a new computer, and one of the things is frequently you may not know what you have installed on the old computer in terms of software or licenses and things like that. This will kind of give you a good idea of that. It may not catch everything, but it's pretty good at listing your inventory of the machine and what you have, and then you could use that then when you're setting up the new machine to decide whether to install software or not there. Mitch says, I think Google's new rules do include photos in your free 15 gigabyte storage. Yeah, that's actually changing as of June 1st. It used to be that you had unlimited photos if they were 12 megapixel or less, or 1080p video or less. As of the 1st of June, they will start charging for uploads of photos and videos there. So, or it'll count towards your, excuse me, count towards your 15 gigabytes, and if you run out, then you can buy additional storage there. Yeah, Mitch mentions Flash has been deprecated with HTML5. And so, yeah, it's something that hopefully will eventually go away there. Jim Holman, RIP, ripping is taking information off of a CD, not burning a new one. You need to rip your CDs if you want them on your phone or iPad. So yeah, the ripping is taking the songs and converting them to digital files on your PC. Okay, it looks like we're caught up there in the chat, unless I missed something. Does anyone have any other question or comment that they'd like to make? And you can unmute yourself and share your video if you want. Yes, Jim.
I don't have any questions, Tom. I just have my video unmuted.
Sure, sure. Oh, if anyone does have a question or that, or if there's software that you use that you'd like to share with the group, certainly we can talk about that.
This is Jim Holman. I had put in that comment about ripping is taking information off a CD because I was confused by your comments saying why you would want to rip in iTunes. That's you put a CD and you rip it so you get it into whatever format you're using in iTunes, MP3 or AAC or whatever format you like. And then you can burn CDs out of iTunes again if you want to, but the point being that you need to rip them off. You know, if you've got a CD, that's a great way to add it to your iTunes library or just even have it available as a digital format on your computer.
No, good call there. Yeah, because frequently people will use the ripping and talk about creating a new CD or a DVD, and it really is the ripping is going the direction off of the disk to the PC, and the burning is taking it from the PC to a disk there, whether it's a DVD or a CD there. And Jim brings up a very good point. If you are going to be using iTunes for taking your CDs and creating digital files, when you use iTunes, you have your option to what format to put it in. By default, the format that it'll put them in is the Apple format, which is fine if you're looking to create files that you'll be using on mainly Apple devices. But if you're looking to create files that you might want to use on old MP3 players or that, you'll want to rip those CDs into MP3 file format. And that's an option within iTunes where you can rip it there. Okay. Yeah, I'm mentioned here. Let's see. DuckDuckGo is a great browser if you want to greater privacy and less advertisements. So yeah, there's, and I think we've mentioned a few of the search sites and browsers out there. Some of them are a little more secure. That if you use a package like AdAware, that also will get rid of a lot of the pop-ups and advertisements and make the sites go faster that way too. So, but certainly you can use some of these other browsers to try and accomplish that too. Any other comments or questions? maybe what I'll do is I'll share just for a second here again. Let me share my desktop. And one of the things I had mentioned, like for screen captures, there's different ways to screen capture. What comes with Windows now is snip and sketch. Now I've added it to my toolbar here, but you can get at it through your menu. Let's go here, and if you go down to, there's snip and sketch. But there's a, so if you start it up, what it's going to do is it's going to here, and so you can press your Windows logo key plus Shift plus X to snip what's on the screen without starting snip and sketch. So you can easily get your items there. If I wanted to start a new one, I could say new, and now it will let me drag and drop. So now I can highlight an area on the screen that I want to collect there, and that will go into the, failed to open. Maybe let's try it once more here. Okay, there it came up. So you do have highlighters up here, so I can highlight something. Or if I wanted to, what I can do is I can draw a circle around it. So I can annotate it before I send it on to somebody or put it in a document or as a screen there. So it's a nice little way to cut and paste and give you some additional capabilities there that you might have. So it can be rather handy for using there. I'm going to stop presenting there. Okay, let's see, any other Bonnie? So yeah, that's the list that I use, and some of the things that I do with all the different software, and hopefully with those other sites too. If you're looking for an alternative to Microsoft Word, you can go in and go to the Alternative To site, and you can see what some of the other options are. What some of the packages do or don't do there, and how people like them, and some of their other comments there. So it can be very handy there. Any other questions, comments?
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, Jim. Okay, John mentions he's used OpenOffice. OpenOffice is a very nice package, free package, and it's available on most of the platforms. And so if you're looking for alternatives to Microsoft Office, certainly some of these others pop up. The Google Docs, I usually recommend that for most people to start out with, and that just because it'll usually do most everything that the average person wants done, and because it's available on all the different platforms, and your files, you're storing your files up on cloud services. The files are all available and backed up, so you have just a whole combination of capabilities there that will usually work for most people. What won't work, though, is let's say you had developed a lot of macros in Microsoft Word or in spreadsheets. Those macros will not work in Google Docs or Google Sheets. But the formatting of and formulas and things like that, and the spreadsheets and the printing and everything, that probably 99% of what you can do in a Microsoft Excel or that you can do in a Google Sheets there. Okay, and I see John mentions if you have an Amazon Prime, you get unlimited photo storage. So, yeah, there are certainly some options out there, and we've talked about cloud storage before for some of the capabilities, whether it's the Microsoft OneDrive, the Google Drive, Amazon, these various things, and so yeah, lots of different options out there. Any other comments or questions there? Okay, well, maybe we'll end a little bit early. Again, we've got the MaxSig coming up on Friday, the question and answer coming up June 1st there, and then our next meeting is going to be the middle of June. I forgot the exact date there, but that'll be coming up in roughly a month there. So we'll see you then. Everybody take it easy, and if you have any questions, you can send them or use the contact us at the website and send them along, and we'll try and answer it. Thanks, everybody.